It took 10 years and 2 trials to reach last week's manslaughter guilty verdict against the killer of Cindy Gladue. Now her family wants to gather her remains so she can finally rest whole.
We haven't been able to lay her to rest because she's still sitting somewhere.
In a case full of graphic, shocking details, one marked it with infamy. Gladue's pelvis was brought into the court during the 2015 trial of her killer that led to acquittal. The first time in Canadian legal history, preserved human tissue was displayed as evidence.
The family was put in a very, very horrific situation of having to make a decision about whether or not they would allow this.
The Crown's use of the body part as evidence of physical trauma sparked outrage.
She was objectified and dehumanized, called a specimen, called tissue, called an object.
The most glaring example in a trial that many saw dehumanize Gladue through stereotypes, repeated references to her as a native lady, sex worker.
Nobody should ever have to make that type of decision because it should never have been asked.
Gladue's family has been trying to repatriate her remains, approaching the Crown, who handled the second trial, for help.
The Crown does not have control over Ms. Gladue's remains. That's something that's in control of the medical examiner's office.
Last week, Gladue's family contacted the office asking for the return of the remains so they could lay her to rest. This afternoon, shortly after CBC published stories citing that request, the office called the family asking for a meeting next week.
This is just still open, you know. We haven't even been able to really heal.
A long wait for justice for the family, now a wait to say goodbye. Jorge Barrera, CBC News, Edmonton.